Welcome to 2.6 Part 1, Rational Functions and Their Graphs. Our central questions for this lesson is what is a rational function and how do you graph a rational function? So a little background, rational functions are quotients of polynomial functions. This means that a rational function can be expressed as f of x equals p of x over q of x, where p and q are polynomial functions, but the important part is q of x cannot equal 0. So the domain of a rational function is the set of all real numbers except the x values that make the denominator 0, because you can't have q of x equal to 0. So in this example, find the domain of the rational function. Rational functions contain division. Because division by 0 is undefined, we must exclude the domain of each function. So you have to exclude all values of x that make that denominator equal to 0. So that means we have to have x minus 5, set that equal to 0. So this means we cannot have x equals 5. So the domain is all real numbers except 5. So the domain of f consists of all real numbers except 5. We can express the domain in a set builder or interval notation. So our first one's our set builder. So you have f equals x not 5, and your domain is negative infinity of 5 with the union of 5 to infinity. So let's look at a next example. So this example we want to do the same thing we did for the last one. So you're going to set x squared minus 25 equal to 0. X squared equals 25. So x equals plus or minus 5. So this means our domain G equals So this means x does not equal 5 and x does not equal negative 5. The other way is our interval notation. So we have negative infinity to negative 5 with the union of negative 5 to 5, union 5 to infinity. This is one way of writing it. These both say the same exact thing. So it's just a matter of what you want to write it in or what it asks you to write it in. So let's do one more example. It says find the domain of the rational functions. This means we have x squared plus 25 equals 0. X squared equals negative 25. Remember 2.1 where you have imaginary numbers. So this is x equals plus or minus 5i. Remember the rules of your rational function. It has to be all real numbers. So since no real numbers cause your domain of h of x to equal 0, then your domain is negative infinity to infinity. Because you have no real numbers where x squared plus 25 equals 0. You have no numbers where x makes this a true statement. Remember, it's the real numbers. So make sure you complete the questions below and watch the next video. Next time, or next video, we're going to talk about vertical asymptotes.